Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with Angie racing through the Cambodian jungles, terrified. After only a few steps, she gets injured. Turning back in terror, she notices an armed robot approaching her. She desperately tries to flee, but is unable to do so due to her injury. We then see Major Robert Greene telling to speed things up, while watching the robot advance to kill Angie. Foster receives a call from Jance, informing him that his crew has landed, and that they are to proceed with their task. Bowler picks up Jance, Kroger and Fielding, and quickly has everyone on their way to their destination. 4 of the same armed robots are being flown to the Golden Triangle, on a military plane. When the Foster team arrives at their location, they are shown to a little cottage. This will serve as the beginning point for their assignment. Bowler then departs with Jance, who is to set up a drop point link at a different location. Major Greene receives a call from Bowler, who is on his way to location Alpha with Jance. Later, Kayla is keeping an eye on Leap and a group of children, who are building a small house. Mason is also assisting with the construction. Following that, he is invited to join Kayla and the children for dinner. Jance and Balo arrive in the middle of the bush, and press ahead. Meanwhile, Fielding configures the gadget with Kroger at home. Kroger begins working on weapon coding, while Fielding believes they are merely conducting a navigation test. Prack and the smugglers set up a bomb trap for Balo and Jance. As a patrol passes by, they move out of sight, almost getting apprehended while hiding. A group of doctors named Jordan, Des, Angie, Wendy, Tien and Bao are stopped from driving over a spike trap, in another part of the jungle. They continue to travel the remainder of the way, hoping to find a village in the Golden Triangle. Balo and Jance come to a halt and prepare the communication equipment. They leave after confirming the setup with Kroger and Fielding, while Balo prepares a separate backup plan. Foster then contacts Kroger to get Major Greene screen access to the assignment. Kroger is alerted that the mission's aim may have changed, and informs Jance. Balo silences Jance as he watches the group of doctors cross their route. For a brief moment, the group comes to a halt. When Leap and a bunch of kids pretend to confront them with fake firearms, they are taken aback. Jance and Balo return to the home, and prepare to drop the robots. Balo takes control of the robot's camera, and communicates with Major Greene, who confirms the robot's landing time. The plane prepares to dump the robots, while the group of doctors notices the plane underneath. The plane is also noticed by Leap and Mason, and the robots parachute down. The parachute of the robot BR-4 does not open properly, and its signal is lost upon landing. Major Greene confirms that the operation continues. The other robots start up, but BR-3 has a communication module problem. According to Fielding, if they lose communication, they lose control of the robot. When they lose control, the robots will attack everyone. The robots leave, as the physicians approach Kayla and Mason and seek assistance. Kayla tries to send away the local smugglers who are following her. Prack inquires about the doctor's background, and orders them to leave. Meanwhile, the BRs arrive earlier for the tech setup. Kroger is compelled to alter the mission codes, after Major demands a new mission objective. BR-4 comes back to life while this is being done, despite the fact that its module is damaged. Kroger will have to stay up all night to fix it. While the smugglers keep an eye on them, the physicians spend the evening in Kayla's village. Des inquires about Mason's military service. Jason accuses him of failing to deal with the smugglers, and they almost fight. The following morning, the IT crew is shocked to observe the BRs begin to move on their own. They open a firearm case and arm themselves. Meanwhile, Leap and his pals leave, forcing the physicians to stay in the area longer. Leap discovers BR-4 and acquires its module. The children escape as it comes to life. The smugglers attempt to compel the physicians to leave, but they are stopped by Leap. Prack and his men are pursued by the BR's men to Kayla's village. Kroger summons them, and they attack everyone in the community. Fielding and Jance try to stop the attack, but Balo threatens them to follow orders. Mason joins up with the physicians. Meanwhile, Kayla and Leap try to figure out how to get out. A BR discovers their hiding place, and assaults them. When Mason distracts the robots, they all flee. Major Greene and his staff identify them all as they flee. Major Greene directs the tech team to eliminate all of them, leaving no witnesses. While Mason and Kayla guide a group of children away, everyone scatters. They die though, because he is unable to save them in time. Mason and Kayla flee to safety, but Mason is hurt by a robot attack. They flee further and are apprehended by Jason, Des and Tien. In the meantime, BR-4 is accumulating knowledge about the group, and gradually becoming more self-aware. Fielder claims that the attacks were not what her team agreed to. Balo believes she is mistaken, claiming that everyone involved in the project particularly their tech staff, is accountable. We return shortly after to see Angie fleeing for her life. While running, she is severely damaged by the BR2 and falls to the ground. She desperately tries to flee, but is brutally murdered. Meanwhile, Mason's group has discovered a cave in which to hide. Mason receives first aid from Tian, and they wait through the night. Bao is alone during the night and injures his leg terribly. He yells out in agony, and Mason's group hears him. Mason forbids Jason from leaving, warning that if he does, they will all perish. Bao continues to flee, but is unable to make much progress. Bao is killed when BR2 discovers him in hiding. The surviving doctors grieve for him, but are powerless to intervene. BR4 seeks to communicate with the tech team by hacking into their system. It also begins gathering information about itself, which alarms the crew. Mason instructs BR4 to self-destruct, but it refuses. They attempt to detonate a bomb to kill it, but they are unable to do so, because it would disrupt the technology links to the surviving robots. BR4 continues to hack into the tech systems, and Balo disables the connection to all the robots, effectively stopping the hack. As they work to repair the damage, Foster orders the team to prevent BR4 from uploading the compromised data. They assign BR2 and 3 to find number 4, while BR1 goes after Mason's gang. Mason exits the cave the next morning, and discovers Bao's body. He notices BR2 and distracts it with a landmine he discovered. He gathers the remainder of the group and departs. When they arrive at the cuddling plant, they run into Wendy, Prack and Leap. By unexpectedly attacking, BR1 takes them all by surprise. Pete guards them as they flee once more, this time hiding in a little house. They are apprehended, and Dez is nearly slain, but Mason saves his life. Prack is killed while protecting Kayala and Leap. BR1 advances, and Mason saves Leap and Kayala once more. Jason also attacks, but falls and drops his gun. Mason tries to strike the robot with a log, but is pushed aside. He dashes to a weapons cache and plants a landmine. He shoots it, paralyzing one of its legs. When he approaches the finish line, the tech team activates the self-destruct timer, but Mason barely escapes. We see Leap uninjured shortly after, but Kayla is gravely damaged. Tian and Wendy make an attempt to save her. While Leap laments Prack's death, he thinks it is all his fault, because he took BR4's module. They eventually leave, but Balo expresses his concerns to Major Green about the mission's numerous issues. Major Green critiques Foster's robots, as the tech team begins monitoring the module in Leap's custody. Foster accuses the highly qualified Mason of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Foster says that the presence of the doctor was also not part of the planned goal. Finally, BR3 locates and attacks BR4. BR4 demonstrates new powers, and evades BR3. The combat begins as BR4 surprises and captures 3, and Balo orders 3 to self-destruct. Foster, on the other hand, wants to save BR4's higher functioning brain. BR4 uses 3 to resume uploading, and Balo orders the tech team to blow out BR3. BR4 takes everyone by surprise by not only disarming the bomb, but also deleting BR3's control module. Balo orders him to enter the field and tag BR4, in order for a drone strike to destroy it. Kroger advises instead that he implant BR3 with an improved module in order to overcome 4. Fielding attempts to call her husband Bill to assist in exposing the plot. She tries to flee when confronted by Balo. During the chase, she strikes him and flees onto the street, but she stumbles and injures her ankle afterwards. He eventually finds her, murders her, and steals her phone. Balo summons a contact to eliminate Bill, while ordering Jance and Kroger to leave the house. Balo's contact quickly kills Bill. He blows up the house as they exit, and the squad departs. Mason's party is still hidden in the bush, but their progress is being delayed by Kayala and Dez's injuries. They try to conceal them further, but BR2 finds them. Jordan is separated from the rest of the group, but he fights the robot. He attempts to rejoin the gang by leading it away. Unfortunately, he narrowly avoids the robot's notice after reaching a dead end. He rejoins the group, but BR2 is hot on his tail. Balo prepares to depart their new location, but not before threatening Jance, Kroger and their loved ones. Balo goes into the bush, while Mason's crew goes into a cave system. Balo hands the improved module to BR3, who dashes away. Back in the cave, the party naps, but they are interrupted by a blind elderly man. They continue on their journey, looking for a location to hide and rest for the night. Kayala is experiencing internal harm from her injuries as the group awakens in the morning. Wendy and Tian attempt to help her, while Jordan and Mason attempt to divert the robot's attention. Mason, on the other hand, gets apprehended and flees, but he trips and injures himself. Jason and the group are discovered by BR2, and Jason heroically defends them. Mason entices it once more, and BR2 becomes trapped in the rocks, unable to escape. They move outside after crossing the stalled BR2. Ballo pursues BR3, while Jance seeks out Foster. Jance advises Kroger that they are unlikely to survive the circumstances. Kayla dies in Mason's arms, while the group carries on. They bury her in a local shrine, but are once again discovered by BR2. The group separates as they flee through the temple. Des, Wendy and Tien are led away by Leap, but Jordan and Mason remain to face the robot. Leap's gang exits the temple, leaving Mason and Jason behind. They both flee as Ballin and BR3 move in on BR4. Des collapses in anguish, and joins Mason in his search for Leap's group. Leap hands Mason the module and departs to dispose of it. The group splits once more. This time, Jordan goes with the girls, while Mason stays with Leap and Des. Mason tries to distract BR2, but fails as it injures Wendy nearby. Des pursues, but is killed when he steps on a landmine. BR2 grabs Leap, and Mason steps in. When BR4 attacks and uploads from 2, Mason is about to be killed by 2. The tech staff tries valiantly but fails to halt the upload. They disconnect from the internet, but Mason loses visual perception of the situation. BR4 smashes number 2, while Leap attempts to flee with an unconscious Mason. Meanwhile, Jance tries to get Kroger to take the lead. Kroger implores him to stay, and he agrees. BR4 encounters Mason and inquires as to his identity. BR4 replaces its module and resumes uploading, but is interrupted by Jance and Kroger. Mason is condemned by BR4 for causing harm to others, while serving in the military. He is a soldier of death, and BR4 claims to be alive. BR3 suddenly assaults 4, while the rest of the group retreats. Ballo also appears, wounding Jason. Mason stays to fight Ballo. Leap returns to Mason. BR3 and 4 continue to struggle, and Mason uses a landmine to take out Ballo. Ballo rises again, but is stopped by BR4, who informs Mason that life is actually precious. BR4 initiates and completes its own self-destruction. Forrester later claims that the mission was a success, blackmailing Major Green into a commercial arrangement. Major Green then murders Kroger and seriously injures Jance, before exiting his office. The rest of Mason's group flees, and they all eventually make it out of the jungle. Finally, BR4 transfers himself onto another BR robot in a factory, resurrecting himself. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.